Episode 1: The Genesis. Abimbola woke up to a bright, beautiful morning. The golden rays of the sun streamed through the thin curtains, casting a warm glow over her room. Today was the day she had been eagerly anticipating.
Abimbola! Abimbola!
Her mother's voice broke her reverie, reminding her of their journey to the State University outside of Lagos. Soon enough, they were in her mom's car, making their way through the hustle and bustle of Lagos traffic.
Plantain chips.
The cacophony of honking horns and street vendors shouting their wares filled the air. They navigated the labyrinth streets onto the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, veering into the Shagamu Expressway, passed through Ilishan-Remo Road, and finally arrived at Ogun State University. The campus was alive with activity. Abimbola, accompanied by her mom, braced herself for the registration process wahala. Her mother's presence allowed them to skip ahead of the long queue, much to the displeasure of the other students. Their protests of unfairness echoed through the registration hall, but Abimbola was too focused to let it bother her. Ogun State University was a typical state-owned institution, with most of its hostels situated off campus. The school community was a melting pot of indigenes, lecturers, and students. Abimbola marveled at the diverse mix of people and the new environment. Having lived a sheltered life, Abimbola listened intently as her mother gave her a good lecture before dropping her off at her cousin's place.
Remember the daughter of who you are.
Okay, mommy.
Rántí ọmọ ẹni tí ìwọ ń ṣe.
Mo ti gbọ́.
Ṣó o gbọ́?
Mo ti gbọ́ mà.
Her mother admonished, her eyes filled with love and concern. Thrilled with her newfound freedom, Abimbola felt a rush of excitement. This was her first taste of independence, having never attended boarding school during her secondary education. Yet, she was mindful of her main purpose for being here: to study hard and make her parents proud. Later that evening, her cousin informed her of a birthday party and asked if she would like to attend. The idea of attending a party just a few blocks away thrilled Abimbola. She agreed eagerly, already imagining the fun she would have. Dressed up and ready to go, Abimbola followed her cousin and a guy she guessed to be her boyfriend excitedly to the gate, where they were awaited by 3 other guys and a sleek black-colored car. A question suddenly popped into her mind. Isn't the party 3 blocks away? As the car doors swung open, a sense of unease crept over her. She hesitated for a moment, her mind racing with possibilities. The night air felt thick with anticipation. What lay ahead was unknown, and her heart pounded with a mix of fear and excitement. And just like that, the car roared to life, the sound echoing in the stillness of the night. Where were they really going? What happens next? What adventure or danger awaits Abimbola? Tune in to the next episode to uncover the mysteries of her journey. Bye for now. As they gathered by the car, Abimbola's cousin Nike introduced her to the guys.
What's up, guys?
Nike, what's up? Nothing they happen.
Too bad. Who be this chick now?
Anyway, meet my cousin, Abimbola. Abimbola, meet James, Tayo, and Ikechukwu. I for short.
Nike said with a grin.
What's up? Hello. Abimbola. Nice name. Can I call you Abims?
Alright, guys, let's go.
Each of them greeted her warmly, making her feel slightly more at ease. They piled into the sleek, air-conditioned car and sped off into the night. Abimbola watched the world blow by outside the window, the forest of trees lining the express lane, casting fleeting shadows. To Nike, everything seemed perfectly normal. But for Abimbola, this was a thrilling departure from her usual routine. The journey felt like it stretched on forever. The car humming along smoothly through the deserted roads. Finally, they arrived at the venue. A building alive with lights and a distant thrum of music. Abimbola's curiosity piqued. She stepped out of the car, expecting a regular party but sensing something different in the air. By 10:30 p.m., Abimbola grew restless. She turned to her cousin with a hint of impatience.
Nike, when is this party supposed to start?
Nike laughed softly.
Relax. It starts at midnight. Just enjoy the vibe until then.
As the clock inched closer to midnight, Abimbola couldn't help but think about her parents, likely assuming she was fast asleep in her bed. The contrast between her reality and their assumption made her smile wearily. At 12:30 a.m., the party finally kicked off. The building transformed into a pulsating club filled with vibrant lights and thumping music. Nike effortlessly blended into the night's events, dancing and mingling with ease. Abimbola, still feeling like an outsider, observed the scene, trying to soak in the energy around her. The party was in full swing now. People danced with wild abandon, their laughter and joy infectious. Noticing Abimbola standing alone, Tayo approached her with a charming smile.
Can I get you a drink?
He offered.
Okay.
Abimbola replied, attempting to match his enthusiasm. Tayo disappeared into the crowd, making his way to the bar. As he ordered the drink, he glanced around to ensure no one was watching too closely. From his pocket, he discreetly pulled out a small vial and poured its contents into the drink meant for Abimbola. He stirred it quickly, his face maintaining a mask of casual cheerfulness. With the drink in hand, Tayo returned to Abimbola. The club's lights flickered, casting an airy glow as he approached. Abimbola noticed the strange look in his eyes, a mix of charm and something unsettling.
Here you go.
Tayo said, handing her the drink with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Abimbola accepted the glass, her hand trembling slightly. A chill ran down her spine, a sense of unease she couldn't shake. She looked up at Tayo, who watched her intently, his smile unwavering. What will Abimbola do next? Will she sense danger and avoid the drink? Or will the night take a dark turn? Tune in to the next episode to find out. Bye for now. Abimbola was about to take a sip of her drink when Nike showed up, her face glowing with excitement.
Hey, AB! Are you having a great time?
Nike asked, her voice raised to be heard over the pounding music. Abimbola lowered the glass to her lap and smiled.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Abimbola replied, trying to sound enthusiastic. Just then, she remembered a conversation with her friends back in senior secondary school about how some guys might spike a girl's drink at parties to get their way. The memory sent a shiver down her spine, and she looked down at the glass in her hand with new suspicion. She was jolted back to the present when Tayo leaned in, his eyes fixed on her.
Aren't you going to drink?
He asked, his voice smooth but insistent. Abimbola glanced at his empty hands and wondered why he wasn't drinking anything. Her suspicions grew stronger. With a calm she didn't entirely feel, Abimbola smiled and said,
You know, Tayo, you should have a drink too. Here, take mine. I'll go get another one.
She handed him the glass before he could protest and made her way to the bar. Tayo watched her walk away, a flicker of irritation crossing his face. He turned back to his friends, Ikechukwu and James, approaching him.
TY, always the smooth operator.
You know me now.
Tayo was tall, with a confident, almost magnetic presence. His smooth dark skin and sharp jawline made him stand out, and his eyes had a glint that suggested he was used to getting what he wanted. He laughed along with his friends, but his eyes kept drifting towards the bar where Abimbola stood. While Tayo and his friends talked, Abimbola intentionally lingered at the bar sipping her fresh drink. The DJ played a hit song she loved, and she couldn't help but tap her feet to the beat. It wasn't long before a guy approached her, flashing a charming smile.
Hey there, you enjoying the party?
He asked, his eyes scanning her face.
Trying to.
Abimbola replied with a small smile. The guy, obviously interested, continued to chat with her, but her mind was elsewhere. The only other time Abimbola had stayed up this late was during a church vigil back home. The contrast between that experience and this wild night couldn't be starker. Everything felt odd and out of place, and she couldn't help but wonder why people will choose to revel all night without any real purpose. Feeling increasingly tired and out of sync with the party's energy, Abimbola decided to take a break. She slipped out of the club, the cool night air, a welcome relief from the stifling atmosphere inside. She headed towards the car, hoping to catch some sleep.
A birthday party without jollof rice? That's a first.
She muttered to herself, shaking her head in disbelief. As she approached the car, something caught her eye. The vehicle seemed to be bouncing slightly, and through the dim light, she could make out two figures inside. It looked like they were making out. Abimbola's heart skipped a beat, a mix of curiosity and unease flooding her senses. Who could it be? Her steps slowed as she neared the car, her mind racing with possibilities. The scene was jarring, pulling her out of her tired daze and heightening her sense of alertness. With Abimbola standing by the car, her heart pounding, who are the people in the car? And what does this mean for her night? Tune in to the next episode to uncover the mystery. Bye for now. Tayo leaned back against the wall of the club, a smug smile playing on his lips. He was a 200-level mass communication student known for his charm and good looks. Tall and handsome, with smooth dark skin and a sharp jawline. He had a reputation that preceded him. His friends, Ikechukwu and James, stood nearby laughing and joking.
CY, you're always up to no good.
Ikechukwu said, shaking his head.
You're a real player, man. Yeah, always looking for your next conquest. What's the deal this time?
Tayo's smile widened.
Abimbola.
Yeah? What about her? Oh, she's your next target.
She's just another girl now. I'll get down with her, like I've done with other girls before her.
Ikechukwu raised an eyebrow.
Don't tell me she's your next target, oh. From what I've seen, she's not like the usual girls you chase. She seems different.
Different or not,
Tayo replied confidently.
Baba, a girl is a conquest, and I always conquer.
James chuckled.
For real?
Abimbola will be no different. How about we place a bet on this?
James laughed.
Alright, you're on. Let's see if you can pull this off.
As they talked, Tayo noticed Abimbola slipping out of the party hall. Curiosity piqued, he decided to follow her. Leaving his friends behind, he trailed her through the dimly lit parking lot. Abimbola approached their car and knocked on the window.
Who be this one now?
Grumbled the guy inside, irritated by the interruption. To her shock, the other person in the car was Nike, looking drowsy and out of sorts.
What? Nike, what's going on?
Abimbola asked, her voice tinged with concern. Nike mumbled something incoherent, her eyes half closed. Abimbola's mind raced back to the punch that had been served earlier by one of the other guys. She felt a surge of relief for following her instincts not to take the drink from Tayo. She realized that if she had, she might have ended up like Nike, vulnerable and defenseless. After a while, they all left the club venue. The ride back to their hostel was quiet. The night's events weighing heavily on Abimbola's mind. She helped Nike to their room and watched over her until she fell asleep. The next morning, Abimbola woke up to the sounds of birds chirping outside her window. For the first time in what seemed like forever, she didn't have to be woken up by her mom to peel beans for making akara. She stretched luxuriously, basking in the freedom of being able to decide her own schedule. The weekend passed in a blur of activities. Abimbola explored her new environment, mingling with other students, and even managed to do some cleaning. She went for a jog around her hostel and treated herself to a late breakfast at a popular campus cafe. The freedom of university life was intoxicating, and she relished every moment. By evening, Abimbola was back in her room, relaxing on her bed with a novel. Nike had gone to her boyfriend's house for the weekend, that day being February 14th. Abimbola wasn't expecting any visitors, so when she heard a knock on the door, she was puzzled. She put down her book and got up to answer it, her mind racing with curiosity. Her heart pounding as she reached for the doorknob. Who could it be? Tune in to the next episode to find out who the uninvited guest is and how the evening unfolds for Abimbola. Bye for now. Abimbola opened the door, her eyes widened in surprise. Standing there with a confident smile was Tayo. She glanced over her shoulder, remembering that Nike wasn't around.
Tayo, what are you doing here? Nika isn't home.
Hey, Abims.
He greeted smoothly, stepping into the room without waiting for an invitation.
I came to see you. You!
She shut the door behind him, her heart racing.
You came to see me?
Tayo nodded, his gaze fixed on her.
Yeah. It's Valentine's Day. So I thought we could hang out together.
Abimbola forced a smile, trying to hide her unease.
That's nice of you, but it's getting late.
Ignoring her subtle hints, Tayo settled himself on the small sofa, patting the seat next to him.
Oh, come on. Just for a little while. Let's talk.
Reluctantly, Abimbola sat down, maintaining a safe distance. Tayo started chatting about random topics. Classes, campus life, and even the latest gossip. Abimbola chimed in here and there, but her mind was preoccupied with the time, watching the minutes tick by. Tayo shifted closer, his tone turning more serious.
Abims, I've been thinking.
About what exactly?
Abimbola tensed,
I really like you.
her eyes darting towards the door.
You're different from the other girls I know.
Look, Tayo, I don't think...
Listen.
He interrupted, his voice smooth and persuasive.
You're really beautiful and I'd like you to be my girl.
She snapped out of the moment, looking startled.
What? Your girlfriend? How? Please, 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 stop.
Tayo's smile didn't falter.
We can get to know each other. I promise you won't regret it.
His eyes bored into hers, his charm almost palpable. Abimbola felt a flutter of doubt. His words were sweet, his presence intoxicating, but something didn't feel right. She remembered the warnings from her friends, the uneasy feeling she'd had the night before.
See, Tayo, I appreciate your interest, but I'm not ready for that. At least not now.
She said firmly. Tayo's smile turned into a smirk as he inched closer.
Abims, you are special. I just want to show you how much I care.
He reached out, gently brushing a strand of hair from her face. She felt her resolve weakening, the warmth of his touch sending shivers down her spine. Tayo's eyes sparkled with a mix of confidence and mischief, sensing her hesitation. The room seemed to close in around her as Tayo leaned closer, his face inches from hers.
Give me a chance, huh?
He whispered, his breath warm against her skin. Abimbola's heart pounded. She was drawn to him, his charm almost irresistible. Tayo seems to smell his victory so sure and close. He didn't know it would be this easy to win his bet, as his thought of giving his friends the evidence of this adventure later on made him smile. With Tayo's face just a breath away from Abimbola's, the tension in the room, thick and electrifying. Will Abimbola give in to this tempting moment? Abimbola sat on the small sofa, Tayo's face just a breath away from hers. She remembered her father's words clearly. There's a period in a young man's life when he experiments with girls, and she shouldn't allow herself to be one of them. The memory of her father's stern advice gave her the strength she needed. Tayo, sensing her hesitation turning into resistance, tried to regain his charm. Abimbola stood up, her voice rising with determination.
Tayo, I need you to leave. Now!
Her tone was firm, loud enough to catch the attention of anyone nearby. Tayo, taken aback by her sudden assertiveness, realized he had to retreat.
All right. I'm leaving,
He said, raising his hands in mock surrender. As he left, Abimbola locked the door behind him, her heart pounding. She wasn't as cheap as he had thought. Tayo would need to change tactics to win his bet, but for now, Abimbola had won this round. That night, sleep eluded her. She tossed and turned, replaying the evening's event in her mind.
I really like you. Abims. You are special.
Tayo's words echoed in her thoughts, mingling with the memory of the incidents at the club. Perhaps her father was right about young men experimenting at this age. The next day, campus buzzed with activity as students flocked to the school board to check the session's timetable for their courses. Abimbola joined the throng, scanning the list for her classes. It was there she met Nkechi, a vibrant and friendly girl who was also a first-year student.
Hi, I'm Nkechi.
She introduced herself with a warm smile.
You are checking for Mascom too? Yeah. Nice to meet you. Same here. I'm Abimbola.
She replied, glad to find a friendly face amidst the crowd. As they navigated their schedules, the two girls quickly bonded, sharing their excitement and nervousness about the semester ahead. Lectures began, and lecturers introduced themselves, setting the tone for the academic journey. In one of her classes, Abimbola met several new faces. Chinedu, a bookish and serious student, Bisi, the social butterfly, always surrounded by friends, and Musa, the quiet but observant guy who seemed to have a knack for understanding people. One afternoon, someone announced the need for a class governor, someone to represent the class and liaise with the faculty on behalf of the others. Chinedu and Bisi were nominated by their fellow classmates. The class buzzed with whispers and opinions as the candidates presented their cases. Chinedu, with his meticulous nature, promised to ensure the class was well organized and informed. Bisi, with her charismatic personality, vowed to make the semester enjoyable and engaging for everyone. Abimbola watched as the class deliberated. Voting commenced and the tension was palpable. Who would emerge victorious as the class governor? Tune in to the next episode to find out who wins the coveted position and how Abimbola continues to navigate the complexities of campus life and relationships. Thanks for watching and bye for now. The classroom was buzzing with excitement as the results were announced. Bisi, the social butterfly with her charismatic personality, emerged as the new class governor. She stood up beaming with pride and accepted the role with a confident speech, promising to make the semester enjoyable and engaging for everyone. Chinedu, who had also vied for the position, sat back in his seat, his face betraying a mix of disappointment and determination. He congratulated Bisi with a forced smile, but couldn't shake off the sting of defeat. A rivalry had begun to brew beneath the surface. As the days passed, the dynamics in the class became more interesting. Chinedu began to gather a group of like-minded students who shared his vision of a more organized and academically focused class. Bisi, on the other hand, thrived on her popularity, planning social events and ensuring that everyone had a good time. The class politics became a source of entertainment and tension, with students picking sides and watching the rivalry unfold. Meanwhile, Abimbola and Nkechi were trying to understand the school's grading system. They made some inquiries from a pleasant-looking fellow they saw under a tree. He sat them down to explain things to them. He told them that a course advisor is a lecturer appointed by the department to handle a student's academic life.
In the case of a student's failure in any course, which means carryover, the course advisor advises the student on what to do. By the way, a carryover occurs when a student fails and has to retake the course the following session, and it depends if there is enough space, that is, that's if you haven't registered up to the allowable number of units per semester. In this school, it's 24 units,
he explained. For every semester, they were expected to take a prescribed number of courses with certain unit points attached to them. The grades were assigned like this: A, 70 and above; B, 60 to 69; C, 50 to 59; D, 45 to 49; E, 40 to 44; F, below 40. The corresponding points are A, 5 points; B, 4 points; C, 3 points; D, 2 points; E, 1 point; F, no points. The grade points or GP, which is also known as Semester Grade Points Average or SGPA, is calculated by summing the product of the related points of the grade obtained in each course and the number of units attached to the course, and subsequently dividing the derived total sum by the sum of the units. As they left the lecture hall, Abimbola and Nkechi were approached by Alex, who seems to admire Nkechi.
Hi, what's up?
Hi.
My name's Alex. Please, may I know your name?
Nkechi didn't look like she was really impressed by him. However, she responded reluctantly.
Nkechi.
He got her excused from her friend and talked to her.
I think I like you. Can we be friends, please?
Nkechi gave him her number, but once Alex left, she turned to Abimbola.
He's nice, but not really my type, Sha.
They giggled about the matter. Alex, excited about his new contact, joined his friends, who were quick to offer their opinions.
Alex, flashy girls like that can be trouble, oh.
One of them warned.
Be careful, man.
Alex, a regular but exceptionally smart guy, he is also a jambite. As Alex headed home later that evening, he was deep in thought about Nkechi. Suddenly, a group of guys accosted him. They looked menacing and Alex's heart began to race. Sensing danger, he wondered who they were and what they wanted with him. Who could these guys be? What do they want with Alex? Tune in to the next episode to find out. Thanks for watching and bye for now. Tunde, a 300-level engineering student, strolled across the campus with an air of authority. Known for his cool demeanor, Tunde was a member of one of the most notorious fraternities on campus. Despite his outward charm, he was known for his ruthless nature and involvement in various unsavory activities. Nkechi had been dating Tunde long before she gained admission into the university. It was Tunde who had pulled strings and leveraged his connections to help Nkechi secure her spot. Their relationship was complicated, what with Tunde's possessive control. That afternoon, Tunde's eyes narrowed as he saw a guy approach Nkechi. His jaw clenched and he immediately asked his crew about the guy who dared to speak to his girl. His friends were quick to provide information.
His name's Alex. He's a jambite, a nobody.
Okay.
Later that evening, as Alex walked home, lost in his thoughts about Nkechi, he was suddenly surrounded by Tunde and his gang. The air grew thick with tension.
Hey, stop there.
Tunde stepped forward, his expression menacing.
So you think you can just waltz up to my girl like that?
He sneered.
Consider this your only warning. Stay away from Nkechi, or you'll regret it.
Alex, though trying to appear calm, could feel his heart pounding. He managed to keep his composure, replying,
I didn't mean any harm. I was just being friendly.
Tunde's eyes flashed with anger.
Friendly? I don't care what you meant. Stay away.
Shaken but not broken, Alex made his way back to his hostel, replaying the encounter in his mind. He narrated the incident to his roommate, Jibo, who listened intently.
Guy, you need protection from bullies like that.
Jibo advised, a serious look on his face.
What do you mean by protection?
Alex asked, confused. Jibo leaned in, lowering his voice.
You might have to join a confraternity.
What?
Alex was taken aback.
Guy, it's the only way to ensure you are not messed with on this campus. You're talking about joining a cult? Yeah. But I am from a good Christian home. This isn't the kind of thing I want to get involved in.
Jibo sighed.
Guy, I understand where you're coming from. But Guy, you see, this campus is a jungle. It's either you are part of a pack or you're a prey. And trust me, Tunde and his guys are some of the worst predators around.
As the night wore on, Alex lay in his bed staring at the ceiling. He was caught in a web of confusion and fear. What should he do now? Should he join a confraternity for protection? If he backed off from Nkechi because of some threats, wouldn't he be seen as weak? But aligning himself with a secret cult went against everything he believed in. What choice will Alex make? How will this decision affect his life and academics? Tune in to the next episode to find out. Thanks for watching and bye for now. A typical day in Ijebu is always bustling with activity. The town, home to the State University, has a unique blend of locals and students, making it vibrant and lively. In every corner of the town, the inner parts of the community, students feel the scene. Houses rented out to students bear grandiose names like Presidential Villa, Fagua Hall, Aso Rock, Atlantic Lodge, and so on. Depending on their lecture schedules, students can be seen in their various hostels at different times of the day. Some of the indigenes of Ijebu are also students, sometimes accommodating their friends who are not indigenes. In such a student-dominated environment, it's common to see groups of students escorting each other from one hostel to another very late into the night. The only exception is during curfew nights imposed for certain traditional rituals by the indigenes, when the streets will fall unusually silent. Abimbola marveled at how different this place was from her sheltered life back in Lagos. Whatever name students give to the house they rented was like a stamp that notifies anyone of their presence there. Here, life seemed more spontaneous, less predictable. She watched as a group of students, likely returning from a late lecture, laughed and joked as they walked past her. A couple of girls stood by a suya stand in the distance, haggling prices with their aboki, while a few guys huddled together, engrossed in a heated discussion about the latest football match. The university students in the town of Ijebu practically kept the economy and liveliness running. For Abimbola, this wasn't the real world but a prototype of it. She was snapped back to reality by a local bike rider yelling at her in the Ijebu dialect for partially obstructing his path. The evening breeze was cool, and as she strolled, she found herself lost in thoughts, contemplating the intricate social web she was now part of. As she walked, enjoying the coolness of the evening, she noticed the environment around her. The streets were lined with small shops selling everything from snacks to phone accessories. The aroma of street food wafted through the air, mixing with the sounds of students chatting, laughing, and occasionally arguing. The lively chatter of the market women, the distant sound of music from a nearby party, and the occasional honk of a car horn created a symphony of campus life. Abimbola let her mind wander, thinking about her classes, her new friends, and the events of the past few days. She also thought about the school's grading system. Being a bright student back in secondary school, if she studied well enough, a 4-point grade shouldn't be hard to achieve so that she will be able to secure a great job after school. Gone are the days when university graduates are given jobs as soon as they finish from the university. There were very few then, but nowadays, as a university graduate, you will have to come out with exceptional grades to even be considered for an employment. As she approached Ijebu bus stop, she noticed the silhouette of someone that looked familiar. The person chatted on animatedly with the other person. Abimbola could see the other person's face because she faced her direction. But this familiar figure wasn't facing her direction. Curiosity piqued, she moved closer to confirm her suspicion. Who could this person in silhouette be? Could it be who she thinks it is, or someone else who is just a lookalike? Find out in the next episode. Thanks for watching, and bye for now. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the bustling streets of Ijebu. Students moved about, giving the town its lively and vibrant character. Abimbola strolled leisurely, enjoying the cool evening breeze and the familiar sounds of campus life. As she walked, she heard animated voices nearby. Intrigued, she moved closer to the source of the banter. Two figures were engaged in a lively conversation in the Ijebu dialect. As she approached, she recognized one of them. Biliki! Abimbola called out. The girl turned, recognizing the person calling her name. Her lips parted, revealing a wide grin.
Bimbolistic, how now?
She exclaimed. Biliki was a girl from Abimbola's neighborhood in Lagos. She had stayed with her relatives and attended a public school there. Known for her crazy and unrefined nature, Biliki is a ras girl, always the life of the party, often causing a scene with her antics.
What are you doing here?
Abimbola asked, puzzled.
Ijebu na my hometown now.
Biliki replied in her typical broken English.
Now me suppose they ask you, wetin you they do for here?
Abimbola laughed, shaking her head.
I'm here for school, Biliki. What about you?
I dey here they flex now. Me sef come school for here.
Biliki said with a mischievous wink. She claimed to be a student, but Abimbola knew better. Biliki was more of a wannabe, hanging around to soak up the student life without actually being a part of it. Biliki could be quite the character. Her animated stories and exaggerated expressions had Abimbola laughing heartily.
Make we go buy suya now.
Biliki suggested suddenly, her eyes lighting up at the sight of a nearby suya stand.
Okay.
Abimbola agreed, her mouth watering at the thoughts of the spicy grilled meat. They approached the stand, and as Abimbola placed her order, Biliki continued her animated chatter.
You will be fine girl.
Biliki teased.
You go soon turn hot cake oh.
Abimbola rolled her eyes, laughing.
Biliki, you haven't changed one bit.
As they waited for their suya, a familiar presence approached from behind.
Hey, Abims. What's up?
A voice greeted her. She turned to see Tayo standing there, his charming smile in place. Her heart skipped a beat, not in excitement but in caution. She remembered their previous encounters and felt a mix of irritation and curiosity.
Buying some suya, I see.
Tayo said, his tone casual.
Yes.
She replied, trying to keep her tone neutral. She wasn't in the mood for another encounter with Tayo, especially after their last interaction.
I'll pay for it.
Tayo offered, reaching for his wallet. Biliki, ever the opportunist, couldn't help but chime in.
Who be this fine bobo? You don't catch big fish oh.
Abimbola rolled her eyes at Biliki's comments.
No thanks. I have my own money.
She told Tayo, refusing his gesture. But Tayo insisted.
I insist. It's on me.
Abimbola hesitated, torn between wanting to assert her independence and not causing a scene. Reluctantly, she allowed Tayo to pay for the suya, but her guard was still up. Biliki watched the exchange with keen interest, her eyes darting between Abimbola and Tayo.
Bimbolistic. You know what introduce us ni? Abi you dey form?
Abimbola sighed, knowing that Biliki would not let it go.
Tayo, this is Biliki, an old neighbor from Lagos. Biliki, Tayo.
Nice to meet you, Biliki.
Tayo said, extending his hand. Biliki shook his hand with enthusiasm.
Me sef. Nice to meet you. Brother Tayo, make you take care of my girl oh.
Tayo laughed, his charm in full effect.
I'll do my best.
As they stood by the suya stand, the night around them continued to buzz with activity. Abimbola couldn't help but feel a mix of irritation and confusion. Tayo's persistence was unnerving, but a small part of her was curious about his intentions. As they walked back towards the hostel, Biliki regaled them with outrageous stories that had Abimbola in stitches. But the underlying tension between her and Tayo remained.
Okay, Biliki, I'll see you around, eh?
Abimbola said as they neared her hostel.
Bimbolistic. Okay, take care.
Biliki replied, waving them off. Abimbola thanked Tayo for the suya and started to head inside.
Abims, wait.
Tayo called out, stopping her. She turned, curiosity and caution battling within her.
Yes?
Tayo hesitated, then smiled.
Nothing. Just wanted to say good night.
Good night, Tayo.
She replied, turning to leave. As Abimbola walked away, Tayo watched her with a determined look. He knew he had to change his tactics. Abimbola wasn't as easy as he had thought. Every girl had a prize, he believed, and he was determined to find hers. What will Tayo's next move be? Will he succeed in winning his bets? And as for Abimbola, will she be persuaded by Tayo and be swept off her feet? Tune in to the next episode to find out. Thanks for watching and bye for now. The campus buzzed with the usual hustle and bustle as students made their way to their lectures. Abimbola and Nkechi walked together, their conversation filled with excitement about the day's schedule. They entered the hall for their history class, where the room was already filled with chatter and laughter. The history lecturer, Dr. Adegbite, walked in with a confident stride, his presence commanding attention. He was known for his engaging and animated teaching style.
Good morning, class.
Dr. Adegbite greeted, his voice booming.
Today, we will be discussing one of Africa's greatest leaders, Kwame Nkrumah.
The class murmured in interest, and Dr. Adegbite continued.
Who can tell me something significant about Nkrumah?
Chinedu, always eager to impress, raised his hand.
Sir, Nkrumah was the first Prime Minister and President of Ghana, and he led the country to independence from British colonial rule in 1957.
Excellent!
Dr. Adegbite praised.
But there is more to Nkrumah than just being a political leader. He was a visionary, a man who believed in the unity of Africa. He once said, "We face neither east nor west. We face forward."
The class erupted in applause, appreciating the quote. Dr. Adegbite's eyes sparkled with passion as he delved deeper into Nkrumah's life, his struggles, and his achievements. The students were enthralled, hanging onto every word. As the lecture ended, BC, the class governor, stood up to make some announcements.
Good morning, everyone. I have a few important updates. First, the handout for this course and the others are available for purchase. You get each for 150 naira, so please take note. Also, please submit GNS 101 and FMS 101 to Remy and Beatrice respectively. Thanks.
Chinedu, not one to stay silent, stood up and challenged her.
Why are the handouts so expensive? Are you sure you are not adding to your own markup?
BC responded calmly.
The prices are set by the lecturers, Chinedu. If you have any issues, you can take it up with them, okay?
Chinedu glared at BC, his mind racing with thoughts of how much money she could be making from her position. He began to scheme, thinking of ways to take over as class governor. Outside the lecture hall, Alex was spotted chatting with Abimbola and Nkechi. They exchanged pleasantries and Alex focused his attention on Nkechi, trying to make her laugh with his witty remarks. Despite her initial disinterest, Nkechi seemed to be warming up to him.
See, Alex, we can only be friends, okay?
Nkechi said, trying to be polite. As Alex walked up to the cafeteria with his friends, he was suddenly surrounded by Tunde's boys. They shoved him against the wall, their expressions intimidating.
Stay away from Nkechi or you will be sorry.
One of them warned, his voice low and threatening.
This is your last warning.
Alex nodded, his heart pounding as they released him and walked away. His friends looked at him with concern, unsure of what to say. Later that evening, back in their room, Jibo approached Alex.
Guy, I saw what happened today.
He said, his tone serious.
You really need to consider my advice.
Alex frowned, confusion and suspicion clouding his thoughts.
Why are you so keen on me joining the secret cult, Jibo? Are you a member?
Jibo's expression remained unreadable.
Guy, I am just looking out for you. This campus isn't as safe as it seems.
Alex lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling. Jibo's words echoed in his mind, and he began to question everything. Should he join the confraternity for protection? Or should he abandon his pursuit of Nkechi to avoid further trouble? What will Alex do? Will he join the confraternity or steer clear of Nkechi? What will Chinedu do to get Bisi off the throne as class governor? Watch out for the next episode. Thanks for watching and bye for now. Jibo, a 200 level student, had joined the Black Belt fraternity in his first year. Known for its power and influence on campus, the Black Belts had provided Jibo with the protection and benefits that came with membership. Now, he was determined to bring Alex into the fold. Late into the evening, Jibo sat in their shared room with Alex, the weight of his decision heavy on his mind. He finally broke the silence.
Alex, the only way to survive in this campus is to join a fraternity. It's the only means of survival for a guy here.
Alex looked up, skepticism etched on his face.
Is that how you survived your first year?
Jibo nodded.
You have no idea the immense benefit that comes with it. Lecturers won't dare to mess up with you. You will gain power. And you can get any girl you want.
Alex shook his head, still unconvinced.
I don't need all that to survive. Besides, I'm smart. I can handle myself.
Jibo leaned in, his voice dropping to a more serious tone.
Guy, the Brotherhood have noticed you. Turning them down now won't go well for you. Besides, did you know that Nkechi's boyfriend, Tunde, is a member of another confraternity?
Alex's heart skipped a beat.
Are you serious? Yes.
Jibo replied.
So if you want to protect yourself and maybe Nkechi, you need to join us.
The next day, Alex confronted Nkechi. They sat in a quiet corner of the campus, away from prying eyes.
Is it true that you are in a relationship with Tunde?
Alex asked. His voice tensed. Nkechi sighed. Her eyes filled with frustration and sadness.
Yes, it's true. But I'm not happy in this relationship. And I don't know how to get out.
Nkechi's relationship with Tunde was more like that between a cat and a mouse. He controlled her with fear. Of course, he had other girlfriends because he's a serial cheater, as he doesn't think any girl is worth any value. Alex felt a surge of protectiveness. He perceived Nkechi needed some protection from a monster like Tunde. His mind flashed back to Jibo's persistent suggestion. He gave it a thought and resolved that evening to join the Black Belts. The initiation took place very late into the night in a secluded area of the school's forest. Shrouded in darkness and thick with the scent of earth and leaves. The trees loomed ahead, their branches forming a canopy that blocked out the moonlight, adding to the airy atmosphere. The fraternity members stood in a circle, their faces illuminated by the flickering lights of torches. The Capone, A tall figure with a commanding presence stepped forward.
Welcome, Alex. From now on, you are one of us. Your first assignment will test your loyalty and your courage.
Alex's heart pounded in his chest as he stared ahead, awaiting his assignment. The shadows danced around them, creating an almost otherworldly scene. The Capone's eyes gleamed in the darkness. What will Alex's first assignment be? Will he be able to carry it out? Tune in to the next episode to find out. Thanks for watching and bye for now. Abimbola's days at Nike's place were growing more uncomfortable. Nike, once a gracious host, had turned irritable and critical, complaining about every little thing Abimbola did. One evening, Nike stormed in from lectures, her face twisted in anger.
Abimbola, why haven't you done the dishes? Everywhere is a mess. Do you think this place is a hotel?
Abimbola, already feeling like a burden, tried to defend herself.
I was studying for my test tomorrow. I planned to do them after.
Nike cut her off with a wave of her hand.
Excuses! If you can't keep this place tidy, maybe you should find somewhere else to stay.
Feeling overwhelmed and unwelcome, Abimbola decided to go to her sister's place, Omolola. Abimbola's elder sister by nature is a loving and kind person. More so, she is usually protective of her baby sister. She and her friend, who is an indigene of Ijebu, are 300 level students who lived in another side of Ijebu town.
What happened this time?
Omolola listened patiently as Abimbola recounted the latest incidents between herself and their cousin, Nike.
Sister Lola, it's getting worse. I don't think I can stay there any longer.
Abimbola confessed, her voice trembling. Omolola feels hurt the few times before now that her sister has come to her to complain about their cousin's attitude towards her. She knows how Nike can be. Nike can be really finicky. She is probably putting up all this attitude with Abimbola so she can have her space to herself again. Omolola, sharing a knowing look with her friend, nodded.
It's okay. I think it's high time we found our own place. We should talk to mom and dad about getting our own place now, okay?
Abimbola nodded in agreement.
Okay, but tonight I'm sleeping here.
Okay, baby sis.
She said, smiling and hugging Abimbola close. Their parents, understanding the gravity of the situation, agreed to support them in finding a suitable accommodation. However, finding a place in the bustling town of Ijebu was easier said than done. The town, populated mostly with students, had landlords and agents exploiting the high demand by hiking rents. One afternoon, Nike returned from lectures, visibly annoyed.
Abimbola, why didn't you clean the bathroom like I told you to? How many times do I have to tell you?
Abimbola, tired and stressed, tried to explain.
I was out looking for a place all day, Nike. I didn't have time.
I've had enough.
Nike exploded.
You have 1 week. Just 1 week to find your own place.
This confrontation was the final straw. It was clear that Nike would no longer allow Abimbola to squat with her. Abimbola, feeling the pressure and desperation, knew she had to find a solution fast. It is one thing to get a place you like along with the right environment. It is another to be able to afford it. Some apartments were cheap but have pitiable living conditions. Others were very comfortable and neat but quite expensive. Abimbola and Omolola spent an entire day scouting for a place. The search was exhausting and disheartening. One evening, as they trudged through yet another part of town, Nike's ultimatum hung heavily over Abimbola's heart. They were desperate to find something suitable. Just as they were about to give up for the day, Omolola spotted a modest yet tidy building with a for rent sign. They approached some people they found around, greeted them, and made their inquiry about the place.
Ẹ káàsán o, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ à ń wálé ni.
Somehow, they were able to contact the agents in charge. The agent named a figure that was a little higher than what they had hoped.
It's a new building, oh. If you want it, you better decide quickly.
The agent said. Abimbola and Omolola exchanged worried glances. They were running out of time and options. As they walked away, Abimbola's heart sank with the weight of uncertainty. Would they be able to secure this place before Nike's ultimatum runs out? Tune in to the next episode to find out what happens next. Thanks for watching and bye for now. The campus buzzed with the usual energy of a lecture day. Students hurried to their classes, chatting and laughing, their backpacks slung over their shoulders. Alex walked towards the lecture hall, but something about him was different. His appearance, his gaze, and gait all exuded a newfound confidence. He looked more composed, as if he had finally found his place in the world. As he strolled through the campus, he greeted a group of guys who were not his regular friends or classmates.
Hey, what's up, my guy?
There was a certain camaraderie in the way they exchanged pleasantries, a silent understanding that set them apart from the rest. Nkechi and Abimbola, walking a few steps behind, noticed the change in Alex from a distance.
Have you noticed Alex today?
Nkechi asked Abimbola, her eyes narrowing.
Yes, he seems different. More confident.
Abimbola replied, her curiosity piqued. Even Alex's friends and classmates observed the shift. They whispered among themselves, wondering who these new acquaintances were.
Who are these guys Alex is hanging out with?
One of his classmates whispered to another.
I don't know, but something about them seems off.
The other replied. Alex appeared more confident than he actually felt. The events of the previous night replayed in his mind. The initiation into the Black Belt confraternity had been intense. The new rules he had to abide by weighed heavily on his conscience. As he walked, he remembered the first assignment the capo had given him. In 7 days, he would have to accompany a group of the Black Belt members on a mission. He hadn't anticipated that joining the cult would come with such grave responsibilities. Meanwhile, Tunde was on the motion ground catching sight of Alex with the Black Belt members. His eyes narrowed in suspicion.
What's Alex doing with those guys?
Tunde muttered to his friends. One of them shrugged.
You be like say they don't blend up.
Back in his room, Alex sat on his bed, looking worried. Jibo, noticing his unease, asked,
Guy, what's bothering you?
Alex hesitated before responding.
Is it mandatory that I go on this operation with the Black Belt members?
Jibo sighed, understanding the depth of Alex's fear.
Guy, it's dangerous to back out now. They won't let you go that easily.
What?
There's a grave penalty for anyone who tries.
Alex's eyes widened in disbelief.
But how can I be a part of something so evil? They are planning to rape a girl. How can I do that?
Jibo looked down, his expression conflicted.
Guy, I know it's tough, but you are in now. You can't just leave.
Alex's mind raced. If only there was a way to rescue the girl in question. He had to think of something, some way to get out of this without putting himself or the girl in danger. The weight of his decision bore down on him, each second ticking away towards the inevitable day. He stops and looks out the window, the moonlight casting a shadow on his face. The gravity of his situation becomes clear, and he realizes he must find a way out. Tune into the next episode to find out if Alex can navigate his way out of this perilous situation and save the girl from harm. Thanks for watching, and bye for now. Omolola and Abimbola finally managed to secure their own place, an apartment they could call their own. The sisters felt a newfound sense of relief as they moved into the freshly built hostel, a place that housed only students, at least for now. This was unusual in Ijebu, where hostels typically had a mix of indigenes and students. It was a face me I slap you kind of building, and a first for Abimbola and Omolola considering their social strata as Ajebotas. Their new abode was filled with a diverse group of students from different levels and disciplines. One morning, Bosse, a lively 200-level English student, gathered everyone in the building.
Ladies and gentlemen, we need to give our new hostel a name.
Bosse announced with enthusiasm. Suggestions started flying around.
Presidential Villa.
Someone shouted.
Atlantic Hall.
Another voice chimed. American Embassy. Canadian Embassy. Abimbola, after listening to the various suggestions, finally spoke up.
How about Aso Rock?
Everywhere fell silent as everyone considered the name. Slowly, nods of agreement spread through the group, and they all decided to christen their new home Aso Rock. A few days later, Abimbola was engrossed in her studies when she heard a commotion from a neighboring compound. Curiosity piqued. She moved to the window and saw an indigent couple amid a heated argument. The husband was throwing some luggage out of the apartment while beating his wife. Students and indigents alike gathered outside to watch the spectacle. Among the onlookers, Abimbola spotted Biliki and walked over to her.
Biliki, what's going on?
Abimbola asked. In her usual broken English, Biliki replied,
Ha! Na Baba and Mama Ramota. Them they fight again. Na like film every week, oh.
Abimbola raised an eyebrow.
Every week? Seriously?
Yes, so. Ha! Na everybody sabi them matter. Today fight. Tomorrow make up. You go see am na. By evening, Mama Ramota go don come back.
True to Biliki's words, by evening the dust had settled and Mama Ramota had indeed returned to the house. Abimbola and Omolola found the whole situation both amusing and perplexing. In the following weeks, they witnessed Baba and Mama Ramota's regular drama, each time with the same predictable outcome. One quiet afternoon, Omolola had gone for her lectures and Abimbola had just finished her meal when she heard a knock on their door.
Who is it?
She called out, but there was no response. Curiosity got the better of her and she peeked through the door. Seeing no one, she was about to go back inside when something on the floor caught her eye. A letter. Picking it up, she saw it was a love letter. The sender remained anonymous, adding a layer of mystery and intrigue. Abimola's heart raced as she wondered who could have sent it. She read the letter, her mind swirling with possibilities. Who was it from? As Abimbola sat on her bed rereading the letter, the door creaked open and Omolola walked in.
Hey, you look lost in thought. What's up?
Omolola asked, noticing the letter in Abimbola's hand.
Just saw this at our door entrance.
Abimbola replied, handing the letter to her sister. Omolola read it quickly, her eyes widening.
A love letter? No name? This is interesting.
The sisters exchanged curious glances. Who could the mysterious sender be? Let's find out in the next episode. Thanks for watching and bye for now. The lecture hall was buzzing with the usual mix of chatter and rustling papers as students settled in for the day's lecture. The atmosphere shifted as Professor Adegoke, a stern-faced man with an imposing presence, walked to the front of the hall. He cleared his throat, silencing the room instantly.
Good morning, students.
He began, adjusting his glasses.
Today's lecture will be pivotal for your understanding of this course. Before we proceed, I have an important announcement. It is imperative that each of you secures a copy of my handouts. Failure to do so will result in carryover.
A collective murmur spread through the hall. This was typical of state universities where lecturers often used different methods to enforce their rules. Some based their assessments on class attendance, while others preferred assignments. There were even days when students arriving late were barred from entering once the lecturer was in. On such days, God help those students that it is not a day the lecturer decides to do tests. As the lecture concluded, the class governor, BC, stood up. Her face was flushed with urgency.
Everyone, please listen. 20 handouts are missing.
The hall erupted in confusion. How could someone steal handouts? BC raised her hands to quiet the crowd.
Please, if anyone has handouts that haven't been paid for, return them. I need to account for each of them to the lecturers.
Chinedu never want to miss an opportunity to challenge BC stood up.
This is your fault, BC. Your carelessness is costing us now. How are we supposed to pass if we can't get the handouts?
BC's face tightened with frustration.
We will investigate this matter. Meanwhile, anyone who hasn't received this handout, please see me later.
That evening, chaos descended on the campus. Students lingered around the school's car park, waiting for the buses that never arrived. Rumors spread quickly. Someone hinted the others that the transport workers were on strike because their chairman was murdered earlier that day. The news hit the students like a tidal wave. The union workers, mostly indigenes, had turned against their chairman, accusing him of overstaying his tenure. When he refused to step down, they killed him. Abimbola stood with her friends Nkechi and Sarah, feeling a surge of anxiety.
What are we going to do now?
She asked, looking around at the growing crowd of stranded students. Nkechi sighed, her face a mask of concern.
The distance from here to the main gate is long enough. And from the gate to town, it's almost impossible to walk.
Sarah looked around, assessing the situation.
We are stuck. There's no way we can walk all the way home.
The campus, usually bustling with activity, now felt airy and desolate. The absence of transportation loomed large, a reminder of their predicaments. Many students, realizing there would be no buses, began to brace themselves for a long walk. Cars belonging to students drove past, some offering rides to as many as they could fit. However, most were already filled with friends who usually accompanied them. Abimbola and her friends watched as cars whizzed by, each one a missed opportunity for a quicker journey home. Much later, as the sun dipped lower in the sky, Abimbola and her friends stood at the edge of the campus, contemplating their next move.
Do we start walking?
Nkechi asked, her voice tinged with uncertainty. Abimbola looked at the long road ahead, her mind racing with the daunting task of walking all the way home.
Geez, I guess we have no choice.
She replied, though doubt lingered in her eyes. They took a deep breath, readying themselves for the arduous journey. The question loomed large in their minds. How will they get home safely now? Will they find help along the way? Tune in to the next episode to find out. Thanks for watching and bye for now. Tayo had a lecture-filled day. By the time he left the lecture hall, the sun was starting to set. Outside, he met up with his friends Ikechukwu and James, who were waiting for him by his car.
CY, any luck with Abimbola yet?
Ikechukwu teased, a sly grin on his face. James chuckled.
We told you she was different, didn't we? Are you now ready to admit defeat?
Tayo shook his head firmly.
No way. I'm going to win this bet, and I'll have the evidence to prove it.
His friends exchanged skeptical looks. Ikechukwu offered.
You can back out, you know. Save yourself the trouble. Not a chance, Ike.
Tayo insisted.
I will win this bet. Just watch.
Tayo was one of the happening guys on campus, known for his wealth and charm. He drove a sleek car, a gift from his affluent family, which only added to his campus reputation as a club guy and ladies' man. As Tayo and his friends made their way out of campus that evening, they noticed the school's car park was unusually crowded. Students were everywhere, but there were no buses in sight. Some students had even started walking on foot.
What's going on?
Ikechukwu asked, looking around in confusion. James answered,
I heard the union workers on strike because their chairman was murdered this morning.
Just then, James spotted Abimbola and her friends, Nkechi and Sarah, among the stranded students. He pointed them out to Tayo.
Look who we have here. See her over there. Abimbola.
Ikechukwu suggested.
See why? This could be your chance. Help her out, and maybe you will get her attention.
Tayo had already driven past Abimbola and her friends before James pointed them out. So he reversed his car and pulled up beside them. He rolled down his window and called out.
Hey, need a ride?
Nkechi quickly nodded, relieved.
Yes, thank you. We've been waiting like forever.
As they got into the car, Abimbola couldn't help but feel wary. She didn't hate Tayo, but she sensed he might be a playboy. She needed to be careful. Tayo, on the other hand, saw this as an opportunity to win his bet. In his mind, he thought,
This kind gesture might give me the edge I need to win the bet. It's not like I care about this girl, Sha. Because I can have any girl I want. I just need to win this bet.
As they drove towards Ijebu-Igbo, Tayo dropped off Ikechukwu and James at their stops, and then Nkechi and Sarah at Ago Iwe and Oru, respectively. Finally, it was just Tayo and Abimbola in the car.
Where do you stay now?
Tayo asked casually, hoping to find out more about her. Abimbola hesitated.
Just drop me off at my bus stop. I'll walk from there.
Come on. It's no trouble. I can drop you off at your doorstep.
Tayo insisted, trying to sound considerate. But Abimbola had had enough. She raised her voice.
Tayo! Stop the car this instant!
Surprised, Tayo pulled over immediately. Abimbola got out of the car, thanked him curtly, and walked away. Tayo watched her go, frustrated but determined. He still believed he could win his bet. As Abimbola walked towards her apartment, she thought about the letter that had been dropped at her doorstep the other day. Who could it be? She wondered, the mystery lingering in her mind. Tune in to the next episode to find out more about Abimbola's secret admirer and whether Tayo will succeed in his bets. Thanks for watching, and bye for now. Alex couldn't keep his mind off his first assignment from the black belt. He had just 3 days to go. How could he ever be a party to rape? The thought tormented him day and night. Sitting alone in his room, he wondered how his life would have been if he hadn't joined the fraternity in the first place. He had joined to protect himself and to safeguard Nkechi from Tunde. But now it seemed he was about to entangle himself in something much darker and more dangerous. He imagined the consequences if they got caught during the mission. What could be their fate? There was every possibility that he and the others could be rusticated from school, a thought that filled him with dread. He loved to study and understood the immense importance of education. He couldn't afford to lose that. Desperate for answers, Alex decided to confront Jibo.
Why has the cult decided to attack this girl?
He asked, hoping for a way out. Jibo gave him a stern look.
Guy, as a fresh blood, it's not your place to ask questions, but to carry out orders. Let me remind you that this assignment is aimed at testing your loyalty. There's no way out.
But there should be an option.
Alex insisted. After pondering Jibo's words for a while, an idea popped into Alex's mind. He would find a way to contact the girl and warn her of the impending danger. If he could warn her ahead of time, she might be able to escape being raped. With only 3 days left before the Brotherhood struck, Alex needed to figure out how to contact her without raising suspicion. He had noticed something unsettling since he joined the Black Belt. It felt as if his every move was being watched. He didn't know by whom or how, but the feeling was constant. He confided this concern to Jibo.
I feel like I'm being watched on campus now.
Alex said. Jibo nodded.
Guy, you are. It's for your protection. Now you have no one to fear on campus.
But to Alex, this was creepy. The feeling of being watched made him cringe. How would he contact the girl now? As he walked around campus, his movements didn't feel as free as they used to. The eyes on him seemed to be everywhere, observing his every step. Then, from a distance, he spotted Aisha. She looked like a decent girl. Why would anyone want to hurt her? What could she have done to warrant such a sentence from the Black Belts? Time was running out. He had to act fast. But how would he communicate his message to Aisha without drawing attention? The pressure was mounting, and Alex knew he needed to find a solution soon, with his mind racing with plans and doubts. How will Alex contact her or communicate his message to Aisha? Will his plan to rescue Aisha be successful? Given that he's running out of time? Tune in to the next episode to find out. Thanks for watching, and bye for now. Aisha, a beautiful Hausa girl from a Muslim family, always stood out on campus. While she wasn't an hijabite, she never went out without tying her pashmina scarf over her head. Her style was classy yet decent, reflecting her disciplined nature. Her friends affectionately called her "What's up, Alhaja," a nod to her no-nonsense attitude and disciplined approach to life. Aisha was determined not to be distracted from her studies by anything or anyone, especially not by the many guys on campus who tried to woo her. Fully aware of her beauty and the attention it garnered, Aisha made conscious efforts not to call attention to herself. Her curvy figure made this challenging, but she chose clothes that avoided exposing her curves and preferred moving only in the company of girls. Whenever approached by a guy, she immediately put up a defensive attitude designed to discourage any advances. Most guys got the message and withdrew, while the persistent ones received a verbal slap that sent them retreating. However, there was one day on campus that Aisha wished she could undo what had been done. Walking from the lecture hall with a friend, she was approached by a guy. She put up her usual attitude, but this guy was unusually insistent. On this particular day, she remembered being in a cranky mood, so she threw caution to the wind.
What is it you want with me exactly?
She shouted at him.
Don't you have something meaningful to do with your time other than chase after girls?
What?
The guy was taken aback.
Yes, I ask you again. Don't you have something meaningful to do with your time? Look at you. You are still being fed by your parents, yet you think you can feed me? Look, just get out. Damboro Bashige.
Not only did she insult this guy, she also embarrassed him terribly.
You are going to regret this,
He told her, frustration evident in his voice. Aisha felt a pang of guilt but masked it with her stern demeanor. Embarrassing him wasn't her intention, but she couldn't afford any distractions. As she turned a corner to her lecture hall, she sensed she was being watched. She mentioned this to her friend, who shrugged it off. But Aisha couldn't shake off the feeling. From a distance, Alex watched Aisha. He knew he had to be careful. The stakes were high, and the black belt could discover his plan at any moment. He had to avert the impending danger to Aisha, but how? Lost in thought, Alex didn't notice the approach of other black belt members. They came up behind him, eyes fixed on Aisha.
She's beautiful, isn't she?
One of them remarked.
Yeah. She's a saucy girl.
Another added.
That's why in 3 days' time, she will be dealt with.
Alex felt a chill run down his spine. The Brotherhood's watchful eyes were everywhere. Alex stares at Aisha, the weight of his mission pressing down on him. With the Brotherhood's watchful eyes, would he be able to warn Aisha about the danger? What other plan could he come up with to save her? Tune in to the next episode to find out. Thanks for watching and bye for now. It was a bright Thursday morning as students walked briskly to their various lecture halls, buzzing with chatter. The campus was alive with color as vibrant posters adorned notice boards and walls. The posters were impossible to miss, and curiosity got the better of Abimbola as she stopped to read one. Jambites Night. The bold caption announced at the top. Below it were details of the venue, date, time, and gate fee. The middle of the poster was a riot of colors showcasing the artists set to perform at the event. Abimbola's initial curiosity turned to indifference. She knew she wouldn't attend Jambites Night. She had a church vigil to attend the same night. The vigil seemed far more meaningful than a night of revelry, especially after her disappointing club experience. She walked away, her thoughts momentarily distracted by the sight of Alex in the distance. Alex greeted her absent-mindedly as he passed by. There was something different about him these days, something she couldn't quite place. Did he greet her that way because Nkechi wasn't beside her? Or was there something deeper troubling him? Alex's mind was indeed elsewhere. He had failed to reach Aisha the previous day due to the presence of the Black Belt members. They were always watching him, making it impossible for him to act without arousing suspicion. Now, with only 2 days left to rescue Aisha, he had to act quickly. An idea struck him. He would write a warning note to Aisha and pass it to her friend at the cafeteria around 1 p.m. It was a risky plan, but it was his only chance. Later that afternoon, Alex casually joined a group of Black Belt members who shadowed him under the guise of protection. They laughed and chatted, oblivious to Alex's real intentions. He watched the cafeteria entrance, waiting for Aisha or one of her friends to appear. Time was slipping away, and Alex's next lecture was approaching. He felt a surge of panic as he still hadn't seen Aisha or her friends. Just as he was about to give up and leave, he spotted one of her friends heading towards the cafeteria. Seizing the moment, Alex told the Black Belt guys that he wanted to try his luck with the girl he was watching. They laughed and teased him about his apparent fondness for girls. With his heart pounding, Alex walked up to Aisha's friend. Under the pretext of giving her money, he discreetly folded the warning note into the cash. Leaning in close, he whispered urgently,
Make sure Aisha gets this note today. It's very important.
The Black Belt members, watching from a distance, laughed among themselves. One of them remarked,
Looks like our guy here has a way with girls after all.
As Alex walked back, he couldn't help but feel a mix of hope and anxiety. Alex watched Aisha's friend disappear into the crowd, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on him. Would Aisha's friend deliver his message? Would his plan to rescue Aisha work? Tune in to the next episode to find out. Thanks for watching and bye for now.